Every audit is different, so you're not going to rely on all of these tips and tricks every single time, but here are some good best practice and generalized principles that you can keep in mind when you're in the middle of or receiving these audit notifications. First off, is this a valid audit? I mentioned one thing that as soon as the software asset management team receives the notification from the organization, from internal to the business, you should analyze that with the IT legal department. You should both compare this to the stated audit rights contained in any and all of your signed and accepted publisher agreements. So what the software publishers will do is they could send requests for information, but those are not necessarily audit notifications. If there's no contractual right that they're calling out, no term that specifies they have the right to audit, you are not obliged to disclose any further information. You need to be very careful when you respond or not respond at all. Your posture, you don't want to trigger a full audit, but as long as you verify with IT legal and you can push back, you can do this proactively. And what that means is the takeaway from this first point is that not all informational requests are audit requests, and you do not have to answer as long as you verify. Number two, I suggest that you push the tempo. Hopefully, you are already executing and have in place some principles and processes to support proactive IT asset management, meaning for your top software publishers, you have a capability to understand your compliance position. That means you don't have any cause, any reason to dig your heels in or to stall during an audit. And therefore, if you're in an audit situation, your organization should be doing all of that administrative legwork. You should schedule all of the meetings. You should own all of the invites. You should invite all the participants. You should be taking notes in the actions. What that lets you do is control the written record. And then everything, therefore, that's being agreed in the audit is documented from your side. That is a best practice. Number three, do not ever use external scripts from the publisher. And hopefully this one's a no-brainer. If the software publisher requests information, likely they're going to say, we're going to give you a script, we're going to provide this, and you're going to send reports. It will make it easy. You should just run our script. You should never, ever do this. You should never disclose information to a software publisher before you've had a chance to first review it. If you're running a script from the software publisher side, you don't have any control over what data or information is being disclosed. And likely, they're getting additional information from your enterprise, which is way above and beyond the scope of what you're required to input in terms of data for an audit. So if they ask you, or if they say from the publisher side, run this script, it'll be easy, you should always push back and you should say, our security team, our information security department forbids this. It is prohibited to run third-party scripts. We'll work with you to provide that data, but we will not run any of your scripts. So that is point number three. That is definitely a best practice. Do not run external scripts. Number four, you want to clarify the scope of license entitlement before you start doing license consumption data collection or analysis. And you have to push back here because the software publisher is likely going to say, oh, we want to start collecting data right away, right? You should refer back and use common sense with the software publisher and say, well, if we haven't clarified the licenses that we're looking at and the products, how can we collect any data? How can we do that? That doesn't make any sense. So that's number four. Clarify your scope of entitlement before you do any data collection.